Hi, it's Raven here to do her first tap assignment. Here is the envelope that I have yet to open, that I'm going to open. What's going through my mind right now is, oh no, what am I about to read, what's about to go on, and I have put off this assignment too long and just have to do it. So here I go, opening it up. So that's what's going on right now of what in the world is this envelope gonna talk about, gonna produce, gonna say. So that's just what I'm worried about. I'm thinking about. You guys see me opening it? I'm opening it now. I hope that was all caught on camera. Okay. Here we go. Another envelope and another piece of paper. This envelope, or this piece of paper, just talks about the Think Aloud assignment, which I just recently read to make sure I'm doing this correctly. So I'm assuming I take contents of this envelope out. I read one page at a time, and then I talk about what's going on, or what I'm thinking. Do I have to read it out loud? Would you I did say I read this, right? Vocalize your thoughts of the envelope. Read the first section, first sheet. So I guess I don't have to read it out loud, do I? Interpreting at a mental health clinic. You are a freelance interpreter who has just accepted an ongoing assignment interpreting for a newly established outpatient mental health clinic. The type of situation includes one-on-one counseling session, small group session of no more than 12 participants, in occupational large group setting with an invited speaker. All of these sessions will be conducted by a therapist who cannot sign. You have been told that typically you will have a colleague working with you for small and large group sessions, but for the one-on-one sessions you will usually work alone. You arrive early for the first session, one-on-one session. The therapist happens to meet you in the hallway and you begin talking. The therapist tells you that the deaf patient has called and left a message that he will be about 30 minutes late. The therapist asks how you became interested in sign language and deaf people, so you tell your story. Then the therapist asks about the residential experience with deaf people and about an article he read which claimed that there is a high level of sexual abuse of students in residential schools for deaf students. What would you do and why? Personally, what am I thinking right now? When it comes to residential experience and deaf people, I particularly don't have any opinion about that one way or the other. I've not read any research. I do not know if that's confirmed. So personally, I wouldn't say anything about the topic besides maybe, but I can't deny and or defend that claim because I know nothing about it. So that's pretty much the only thing I'm thinking about. The other thing I'm thinking about is, does that therapist have a presumption as far as why that deaf patient is here in the mental health clinic? Is that what they perceive to be the diagnosis before they've actually met the deaf person? And are we going on presumption? But personally, what would I do and why? I wouldn't say or do anything because I don't know anything about that situation. So that's just personal. But even if I did know something about that situation, I don't think I would deny nor defend or confirm such a claim without knowing definitely. But that's just me. Hope that was enough. Interpreting at another mental health clinic, segment number 2. After you respond, which I responded by saying nothing or, oh, really? Is that what you heard? The therapist tells you that the reason he asks is that the deaf patient in this sentence has a history of child sexual abuse. Huh. Interesting. And that this is the first of the series of the court order therapy sessions. The deaf person finally arrives and it is someone you recognize from the interpreting you have done in the community. The therapist directs the deaf person to his office and the session begins. At the end of the hour, you accompany the deaf person to the reception desk to schedule the next appointment. In the middle of trying to find a workable time, the therapist approaches and in front of the deaf person asks if he can speak to you in private for a few moments. What would you do and why? I guess my first thought is how much footing I have with that deaf person that I knew in the community, if it's something that I even felt comfortable accepting. There's people that I know in the deaf community, but I don't necessarily have that intimate relationship. And I mean, obviously, despite the context of what we're talking about here, not that intimate. But depending on how our relationship was, I may not even accept the assignment. At that point of walking in and seeing who the deaf person was, it might have been an issue of, whether I'd even want to consider such an assignment or if I should back out at that moment. Now, my next thought is the therapist coming and asking for the two of us to talk outside of the deaf person's presence. What I'm thinking is that issue could be, okay, well, that person knows me, I know them, well, what are you sitting there talking to the therapist about that you're not talking about in front of me? That person, here's my presumption of what other people are thinking, okay, are the two of them in cahoots, the interpreter and therapist? Are they gonna, try to diagnose me in a manner? Are they thinking I'm guilty, or, whatever can be perceived? That's sort of something that I would be thinking about. And I may even question the reason why he wants to talk with me alone, and sign that as I'm asking, to sort of put it out there for the deaf person to maybe ask themselves, and maybe depending on his response, then I would decide if I would go or if I felt not comfortable enough to go. I don't know. That's what I think I would do and why. Segment number 3. A few weeks later, the deaf... hold on a minute. I'm going to go back to... Oh, it's the end of the hour. Oh, well, let me go back. See? Because I was thinking about that. I'm like, why are we scheduling an appointment for the next time?